Good morning students, welcome back to your physics class. Today we will start our chapter number 5, heat. You have already learnt that heat is a form of energy. Now we shall define heat. Heat can be defined as a form of energy which causes a sensation of warmth or coldness, and heat can also be defined as a form of energy due to random motion of molecules of an object. Means when the molecules are in random motion, then heat is produced. You can say heat is the ability of doing work. When a machine does mechanical work, heat is produced in it. Similarly, heat energy can also make a machine work, as burning of fuel in an engine produces heat and the engine then works mechanically. Now we shall discuss the units of heat. The units of heat energy are same as that of energy, because this is also a form of energy, and the units of energy were joule, denoted by symbol capital J, and the other unit of heat is calorie, denoted by CAL in short. And 1 calorie means 4.2 joule. This is an important relationship between calorie and joule, and their bigger unit of heat is kilocalorie. Kilo means 1000, so it means 1000 calorie. So these are the units of heat. We can define 1 calorie as the amount of heat energy used to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water through 1 degree Celsius. And now we shall discuss about the different scales of temperature. Temperature. Temperature is different from heat. Temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of an object. Now we can feel hot or cold with the help of our senses, but our sense of touch cannot measure the actual hotness or coldness of an object. For this there are some different scales or thermometers that we shall learn. First one is Fahrenheit scale. Fahrenheit scale. The freeze point, ice point for the Fahrenheit scale is 32 degree Fahrenheit, and the boiling point is 212 degree Fahrenheit, and there are 180 divisions on the Fahrenheit scale. If this is the Fahrenheit scale, here is 32 degree Fahrenheit and here is 121 degree Fahrenheit, and in between these there are 180 divisions. As you can see, here are 180 divisions in the Fahrenheit scale. And the next one is Celsius scale. Celsius scale has the ice point as 0 degree Celsius. Here you can see this is the Celsius thermometer. Ice point for this scale is 0 degree Celsius, and the steam point, that is the point where water starts boiling, and the ice point is the point where ice starts forming. Water converts into ice, and the steam point for this scale is 100 degree Celsius. So in between 0 and 100 degree Celsius there are 100 divisions. So there are 100 divisions in this scale. And similarly, next one is Kelvin scale. In Kelvin scale, it starts from 273 Kelvin, and it is the ice point for the Kelvin scale, and it has the boiling point or steam point as 373 Kelvin. So from 373 Kelvin to 273 Kelvin there are again 100 Kelvin. That is, there in this scale there are also 100 divisions. Now we shall discuss about the conversion of units. In Kelvin we write the unit simply K. In Celsius we write degree Celsius. And if we want to convert the Celsius into Fahrenheit, we use the relation C upon 5 equals to F minus 32 upon 9. So you have to learn this relation if you want to convert Celsius into Fahrenheit or Fahrenheit into Celsius. And you can also cross multiply the terms. 9C equals to 5F minus 160. So you can use either of these relationships to solve the numericals. And for the Kelvin, the conversion of Kelvin with Celsius is T in Celsius equals to 273 plus T Kelvin. So this T remains the same. This is in Celsius. We shall do this relation with the help of a numerical. You know that the normal human body temperature is around 37 degrees Celsius, and in Fahrenheit its value is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. So this is in Fahrenheit. You can convert it into the Celsius using either of these relations. Put the values here. 9C into 5 multiply 98.6 minus 160. 9C equals to, when you multiply this term you will get 493 minus 160. 9C equals to 333 equals to, now it is dividing here, that is 37 degrees Celsius approximately. So you can solve the numericals like this one method, and if some value is given in Celsius you can convert it into the Kelvin. If Celsius value given is 25 degrees Celsius, put the value here. 25 degrees Celsius equals to 273 plus T is the same temperature of Celsius, 25, that is in now Kelvin, that is 298 Kelvin. So from here you can see 25 degrees Celsius equals to 298 Kelvin, and solve the numerical in this manner. Next we shall discuss about effects of heat. Effects of heat. Can you eat all of the food raw? No, because cooking food makes the food tasty, change in its color and size. So now we shall discuss about the effects of heat. First one is change in temperature. When the heat flows from a body at high temperature to a body at low temperature, the body is heated and its temperature increases. Heat always flow from high temperature to low temperature, and the body which is having high temperature is hot, and the body which is having low temperature is cold one. And the change in temperature also depends upon the nature of material and the amount of heat supplied. For example, if you place the similar piece of iron and wood in the sunlight, then you will observe that the piece of iron is more hotter than that of the wood. This is because the change in temperature due to heat is also depend on the type of the material, and the second point is it depends upon the amount of heat supplied. For example, when you heat the teapot containing water and kept it on the same mode of cooker of a cooking stove, its temperature rises slowly. But if you kept it on the high mode, its temperature rises quickly. So according to the amount of heat we are supplying or providing, the temperature of the body is changing. You may also have felt that in fever you are observing shivering cold. This is because during fever your body is at high temperature and heat is lost to the surrounding when you feel cold. This is because heat is moving to the surrounding from your body. So in this way we can say that heat brings a change in temperature. Next point is change in shape or change in size. Change in size. You can observe this with the help of an example. The rubber ring of pressure cooker lid becomes loose because it increases in size when heated again and again. So it becomes loose. Next one is, we shall discuss about the expansion and contraction. Change in size means expansion and contraction. Expansion means something is increasing in size and contraction means something is decreasing in size. We know that when an object is heated, its size increases and substances generally expand on heating and contract on cooling. And for this reason, there is some gap in between the rail lines, if you have ever observed, because in winters these contracts and in summers these expand. So to take care of the expansion and contraction by heat, there is some space given in between the rail lines of the track. And also you must have observed that the electrical wires are saggy in the summers because they become loose and they are tight in the winters due to the contraction due to winter's coldness. And also you must have observed that there is some mercury in the thermometer and it also works on the thermal expansion and contraction of heat. When it is heated due to our body temperature, the mercury expands and we get the reading in the thermometer. And again when we put it off, then it again comes to its normal position. And liquids and gases show different change in their volume according to their nature for the same rising temperature. Like solids, they can simply contract or expand, but in liquid and gases there is enormous change in their volume. Next one is effect of heat. It produces change in state. Change in state. There are three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. So there are three states of matter, solid, liquid and gas. When solids melts, it converts into liquid, and when liquid vaporizes, it converts into gases. And when gases condense, they form liquid. Condensing. And when liquid freezes, it forms again solid. You can take the example of water. You can take the example of water. When water melts, it becomes from ice it converts into water state, and then from water, that is liquid, it converts into water vapors, that is gaseous state. And when gases condense, when water vapors condense, they form liquid, that is water, and when water freezes, it forms ice. So in this way you can relate the concept. And when solid melts, then we provide heat, that is there is absorption of heat, and when liquid vaporizes, there is again absorption of heat. But in cases here, when gases condense, then they come close to each other and there is formation of liquid by the dismiss of heat, or you can say removal of heat the gases becomes in liquid state, and when there is dismiss of heat from liquid, then it freezes to provide solid state. Next we shall discuss about good conductors and bad conductors of heat. Good conductors and bad conductors. Just like good conductors and bad conductors of electricity, there are good conductors and bad conductors of heat also. And those are good conductors of electricity are most likely the good conductors of heat also. For example, metals. Metals are good conductors of electricity, they are good conductors of heat also. That is why the utensils are made up of metals, and so that the food can cooked evenly with the help of the utensils made of metals. And bad conductors are also called as insulators. Bad conductors are also called insulators. Conductor means that heat can flow easily from them, and bad conductors means heat cannot flow easily from them. So they resist the passage of heat. And for example, real life examples of bad conductors are ice slab cellars cover ice with insulating cloth or jute bags. You must have seen jute bags. There is some space in between jute bags, so air can trap here in between the space. So air is a bad conductor of heat. Keep in mind, air is bad conductor of heat. So it does not allow the heat from the surrounding to go to the ice, and hence prevents the ice from melting. Some another example is, in winters blankets and quilts kept us warm because air traps in between the blankets and quilts, and they keep us warm. Air is also bad conductor of heat, and wool is also bad conductor of heat. Next one is, hot food is kept in thermocol boxes so heat is not lost, because thermocol is also a bad conductor of heat. Next we shall discuss about methods of heat transfer. This is an important concept, methods of heat transfer. Methods of heat transfer. So there are mainly three methods by which heat can transfer. First one is conduction, next one is convection, and the third one is radiation. So most likely in case of the solids, the heat is transferred by the method conduction, and in liquids and gases, that is fluids, the heat is transferred by the process of convection, and here it requires no medium. For the transfer of heat by radiation, it requires no medium. And we know that heat transfer from object at high temperature to an object at lower temperature till both the bodies attain the same temperature. And conduction is the process of transfer of heat from one end to other end of the object such that heat flows from particle to particle. If there is a candle and there is some iron rod, and it heats up this part of the iron rod, and then from particle to particle some heat will be attained by this particle, and it will transfer the other heat to the next particle. Again some heat will the next particle take for heat itself, and next it will transfer to the next particle. In this way the whole rod of the iron would warm up, and that is how conduction works, that is it starts from particle to particle. And the next one is convection. In case of convection, the heat transfer by the way of actual motion. There was not actual motion, there was from particle to particle. It is from actual motion of the particles of the medium being heated. For example, if here is water and here is the burner, the first layer of the water will get heated up and then it will go to the upside, and again the next layer would come down. In the similar manner there would be convection currents start up, right? So by convection currents the whole water would warm up. In this way convection works. And you might have observed that why air conditioners are placed near the ceiling and heaters are placed near the floor. This is because cold air being heavy, it rushes to down and hence cools the whole room, and as the heater provides hot airs being hot and lighter, it moves upward and hence warms the whole room. And the last one is radiation. For the radiation, it is the process of transfer of heat from hot object to cold object even in the absence of any medium. And shiny surfaces are good reflector of heat radiations. Anything that is providing us heat, it emits radiation, right? And the sun is the biggest source of the heat, and the sunlight comes to the earth by the means of radiations, as well as heat from the sun reaches the earth with the way of process of radiation, because there is no medium sometimes in between sun and earth. And students do read these concepts very carefully and the difference between these three topics. Now open your notebooks and note down the homework. Your homework is write down the exercise, numericals and question answers in your notebook. Thank you.